When did it kind of start? Was it slow or was it kind of quick?
My progression was like, so at 14, 15, we're going to this skate park where I meet Bam. Bam is not sponsored yet. I see him and I'm like, fuck, man, this kid's going to be a problem. He looks like me. He talks like me. He dresses like me. Or shall I say we talk, we look, we dress alike. We skate the same way. We're consistent skaters. We're contest skaters. Instantaneously, we gravitate to each other and we become thick as thieves, best friends. He's not sponsored. I am. Every year we'd practice for this one particular contest in Bricktown, New Jersey called the NSAs, National Skateboarding Associations. And either he would win or I would win. Now at this point, he's getting sponsored. He's starting to rise up the ranks. And one year he shows up to the contest. Bucky shows up to the contest. This is literally within a year span. And I don't show up. So Bam says to Bucky, where's Novak? And Bucky says to Bam, I think he's on heroin. Bam's response is, what's that? Right? He's so young that he doesn't even know what that means. I was at this contest the year before, killing it, like really doing the deal and still having the career as that promising young skateboarder that's going to be somebody, to I've now decided to pursue a career in heroin and neglect my responsibilities, right? Avoidance at all costs. Because now when I see a skateboard, it's like that love that got away who you never got over, and you knew you should have been better or done differently. Yeah. So then Bam continues to rise the ranks. He becomes a household name. He makes the CKY videos, which net him his first million, which then turns into Viva La Bam, then into Jackass, and now I'm just completely buying into I'm going to be a heroin addict the rest of my life and declining to a state of animal-like behaviors.
At 17, you hit your first rehab. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
You told a story in one of your qualifications about a man that you encountered there. I like that story.
Yes. Because for me, and again, I think most addicts and alcoholics, the only time I'm going to accept responsibility or accountability for my actions is when my back's against the wall, right? Like that's the only time you might get the truth out of me. So early on, flirting with the notion that maybe I have a problem, or just appeasing you and going to said facility to get you off my back so I can prove to you that I can drink or drug responsibly, right? Because that's the goal. Sure. I'm comparing out. All I'm doing is fucking focusing on the differences, not the similarities. You are this uppity New York woman who's of a much higher social class than me. So of course I'm not you. You know what I mean? Like I'm comparing out for any reason, just trying to prove a point why I don't belong. And that this is all an overreaction at best. Yep. You just caught me at a bad time on a bad way in a bad day. Tomorrow is going to be different. And I fucking mean when I say tomorrow is going to be the day. But unfortunately, I'm just so unaware and ill-equipped of the reality of my disease that I have, that has me, shall I say, and I don't even fucking know because I'm too smart for my own good, that it's just the beginning. And I wake up tomorrow to repeat yesterday's actions, and I'm stuck in Groundhog's Day for like 22 years. That's what my deal looks like. And the majority of addicts and alcoholics, I believe. Who knows though? So I go into this first facility, and at 17 years old, it was like magic that day. My mother and my girlfriend come to me and they said, we have this great idea for you, Brandon. To backtrack, to let you know how insane this idea was presented to me 2 months before this day that I'm about to tell you about. And what it looked like 2 months ago is I was on the phone with my team captain from Pal Peralta, and he was giving me an ultimatum. He said, look, Novak, we can send you into treatment. You can save your life. You can continue to skate for Pal Peralta, or you can quit the team. Now, from 7 to 17, I ate it. I breathed it. I slept it. I dreamt it. I had fucking become it. Like, no, $1 billion couldn't equate the internal joy that I had possessed about my life. And I'm now, for the very first time, being presented with an opportunity that is ultimately going to stand between me and what was holding me captive, which was my addiction. And I didn't know this then, but I know this now, that anything, any person, any place, or anything that would attempt to get between me and a drink or a drug must and will fucking go. And it's never personal, it's just business. Because I'm really a good guy who was raised with morals and values. But this is just business. Don't take it personal. So he, offers me this opportunity. I don't have a breath of fresh air in my lungs when I said, you know what, Todd, I quit. And then I go celebrate quitting by getting high. So 2 months later, my mother and my girlfriend come to me with the same opportunity. And I think about it for a second. And what would make you think that I would accept it from them over my team captain from Palo Peralta? And the reason why I'm really focusing on that is because I would love for the people to understand the disconnection from reality that takes place far, far, far before I even have any idea that it's happening. And I think about it for a second. I said, you know what? That's an amazing idea. That's a great idea. I have this newfound freedom I was not expecting because I'm no longer going on tour. I'm not filming. I'm not skating. I've just resigned to being a drug addict, and I have this time, and then I'm going to report to said program, and I'm going to report back to you two why I'm not these fucking nut jobs, nor will I ever be. After all, these people are my father. That's how I see them. So fuck you. I want no part. That time I hadn't come to terms with or made amends with my father, who's no longer with us, but I was, if you can tell, I was really resentful at that man. Yeah. So nonetheless, I accept this opportunity, and as quick as I accept it, there's like this bag that appears out of nowhere. It was magically packed, and I'm in the back of my mother's car. My girlfriend's up front, and as quick as they drop me off, they leave, and I'm standing in front of this facility, a bright young 17-year-old kid in Baltimore City, and I'm met outside by a very kind, endearing older woman, and she said, "Sweetheart, are you Mr. Novak?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Come with me." And she takes me to this cafeteria. And in this cafeteria, it is completely empty. There is not a soul in sight. And she said, "Wait here, sweetheart. I'll be back." And I fucking lug my bags in. And at this time, I'm withdrawing from heroin. I'm like ill as a research monkey. I am detoxing from heroin. I have nothing there. These very similar bright interrogation style lights shining down on me. And I'm like, ugh. And I'm sitting there, and out of nowhere, this older black gentleman walks into this completely empty cafeteria, and he walks directly up to me. And he said, "White boy, what are you doing here?" I said, "Heroin." He said, "How old are you?" I said, 17. He said, "Do yourself a favor and do not turn 18 in a place like this." And as quick as he came, he left. He nor I had no idea the significance that simple conversation was ever going to have on me. Mind you, I'm comparing out, proving a point why I don't belong, that this is just an overkill, right? You just caught me at a bad time, bad day, wrong place, focusing only on the differences, not the similarities. You know what I could tell you about that gentleman? Where the 4 teeth were placed in his mouth, because at the time I had all mine. He's black, I'm white. He's 65 to 70, I'm 17. He smokes crack, I successfully do heroin, is what I believe in my mind. He's fucking homeless. I live with my mother and my girlfriend. And at that moment, I'm so grateful that he has found the help that he's in search of and that he's on this better path. I mean this in my heart. The disconnection from reality is fucking astronomical. But what I can't tell you about that facility is my therapist's name, the relapse prevention package they're shoving down my throat, and the healthy and unhealthy boundaries they're trying to instill in me. Because if I could relate to those things, that means I could relate to being one of you people. More importantly, I could relate to my father, and I want no fucking part. I successfully completed that treatment center. I did. And when I completed it, the very first thing that crossed my mind is, how dare that old fucking fool of a man think that he could dictate what my future could look like? Fuck him and fuck the rest of these people. Because as an addict, if you haven't picked up on it yet, as an addict or an alcoholic, all that means is that I'm defiant by nature. I hate authority and I refuse to conform. Because I don't know about most people, but I possess this special job that places me in a lot of positions I don't like to be in. And it allows me to feel a lot of feelings I don't like to feel. And the job consists of knowing everything. So when people, politely suggest what I could ultimately do to save my life, I politely suggest why they should fuck off. And then the scariest thing is my resume states that I do know some things. So I'm like as delusional as one could get. And I don't turn 18 in a place like that, but ultimately I turned 19, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27, 29, 32, 34, 35, 37, 38 in a jail or a treatment center. And every year I'd sit on whatever bed of whatever facility I happened to be in or whatever jail I happened to be incarcerated in and think back to that older gentleman and say that maybe if I just would have listened to that man with an open mind and an open heart, I would not continuously create these outcomes for myself. So throughout my journey, and I know I'm jumping ahead, but at my very last treatment center, number 13, when I walked in, before I even arrived there, I knew things were going to be different. Why? Because I started looking back at every experience I had to that point in trying to obtain sobriety and recognizing that everything that those people told me that I thought were a waste of time, because I'd get loaded in the facility, I'd get loaded when I left, I'd be loaded on the car ride home, really were planting these seeds, again, back to where we started, and these blessings were going to happen unbeknownst to me, because on that final van ride to my final facility, God willing, May 25th, 2015, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I haven't even entered detox yet, that I am the common denominator in every one of my problems. And maybe if I just get the fuck out of my way, I might stand a chance, right? Like, I started to become accountable for my actions as a direct result of the repercussions from my addiction that I always underestimated the whole time, because I possessed that job that consisted of knowing everything, right? Like, I started to dot the I's and cross the T's, and I'm like, I get it. That aha moment.